those who didn't go to work yesterday, that was on Monday, feel like today is their Monday. And the good news is that Friday is also another holiday. So technically, you have 3 days of working in the month of June. So it's a month that begins with vibes, with good mood, with happiness, with celebrations, sherehe here and there. Such a pleasure to be a June baby, and a pleasure to be entering that month where, you know, it's a month of vibes, so we say. Another thing also about this month, the debate or the public participation and giving reviews on the Finance Bill 2025 officially begins this month. This is the month of June, so we expect that to officially begin today. And the government is really calling on online submissions instead of physical submissions. You remember earlier on, our Prime Cabinet Secretary, Musalia Mudavadi, said that conducting physical public participation may not be sustainable according to what our government has. So that is on the finance bill. And also there is so much of budget making processes that will be going on in our parliament. So we need to stay tuned for that. This is also a month where the checkbooks are made in order or are finalized for the end of financial year 2024-2025 as we set to begin the financial year 2025-2026. It is also a month that most companies are doing their reviews, either it's may it be end-year review or mid-year review. And if you're someone who is looking for a job, you probably, this is probably your time to be sending in, you know, those CVs, because most companies also tend to be hiring at this period after their reviews, reviewing how the market trends are, whether they need to have more staffs, whether they need to change staff and get higher qualified people. So this is a month also that if you're a business person or if you're someone who's looking for work, it's also a good month for you to be sending in your CVs, you know, here and there. You never know. There might be a company that is looking for you following their reviews. And also this is a month where the agricultural sector is also planning on maybe if it's a planting season, they're planning on that. And just a few weeks ago, we've had farmers complain, especially those from where, who are complaining of influx of foreign rice in the country, and they have so many in their stores that they are wondering where are they going to sell them, because there is so much of foreign imports that are coming in the country, and they are lacking markets. So they're wondering if they're still going to be planting when they have a billion worth of rice in their stores, not sold yet and without the market. So this a month of reviews. So many things are happening on this month. So if you are keen, this is a month that you need to strategize so that as you begin the second half of the year, you have everything in store for you. And also, this is just a by the way. This is a time when if you are keen, if you're a keen person, you'll realize that most government institutions or government departments will be funding so many projects. So if you have an opportunity to go to a government event or a government-funded gathering, please go, because this is a time when the budget they were having for the financial year, the 2024-2025, that money has to end, and it has to find something that it's doing. So if you get an opportunity of attending those, please do, because you know, if money is budgeted for, it has to end on that financial year. So if you know, you know that one also. And also, on this show, this is the 3rd of June, we'll be having newspaper review with the Nick Modime, who will be joining us this morning, and Ojuang Mariam. They will be joining us for the discussion on the state of our nation. And what we'll be having today on the Standard, we'll be having a discussion. Standard wameamua today, they are really injecting, and it is, as they say, Western arm twist. And this is, it was claimed earlier that President William Ruto had grabbed some land linked to Western Hotel. And right now, they have decided that, you know what, we are not going to end this in court. Let's just talk, and we are willing to give you the land as long as you pay. And coming to think about it, it's not like this was taken willingly. It is something that it's a situation where I come to your home and tell you, you know what, you need to get out of this home, and I'm really pushing you out of your home. And then after some time going to court and all that, you tell me that, you know what, you can have this house, but pay me. I don't want to overthink because, you know what, I'm not the owner of Western Hotel or linked to it. But we've had several alleged cases of land grabbing linked to this current regime. And this is just one of them. And just other stories given prominence on the Standard is voices crushed and bodies broken. This is in relation to the press release yesterday of Boniface Mwangi and his counterpart from Uganda, who were really telling traumatizing stories of what happened to them at the hands of Tanzanian police officers. And actually they say they were warned that if they set foot in Tanzania again, they will come back lifeless, and their destinations will be 6 feet under. Now, on the Daily Nation, we have a story on how grade 9 choices will shape careers. They have given prominence on education matters, and the portal is already open for those of grade 9, and they're now allowed to make decisions or to choose the type of senior high schools they will be attending, and this will determine the careers that they will be pursuing. So if you will be pursuing engineering, you go to an engineering related senior high school. If you'll be pursuing medicine, woodwork or anything, whatever career that you will be pursuing, you are supposed to choose a school that is in relation to that. Also on the front page of the Daily Nation, we also have the same tears as activists recount torture in Tanzanian detention. That is in relation to Boniface Mwangi and Agatha, who visited Tanzania. And also we have the Auditor General, Nancy Gashugu, who is saying that some projects agreements have clauses that attract commitment fees for any underdrawn amount, leading to wastage of public funds. And we've heard her say so many things about the government and wastage and everything in between. But what we see so far is they're printed on papers, but we really don't see actions being taken. So is the controller of budgets just a barking dog who is not heard? That is a question that we'll be asking our panelists this morning. Also on this Biashara Tuesday, and also we have a social issue there. We have growing calls for release of anti-finance bill detainee, and public participation begins today. And this lady just opened a website or an online platform where you can air your views on what you think should be done in the Finance Bill 2025-2026. And what we saw is that she was arrested. So it is really raising questions of, is it really a way that we are supposed to be following as a country? Is this the way that we should be taking? We are encouraging online public participation, but then those people who are really gearing towards that or enabling that to happen, they are seen arrested. So that's also something that we'll be discussing on this show this morning with our panelist on a newspaper review. Over the weekend, we've had a really long weekend, Madaraka Day celebrations in the country. And there's also that to be discussed this morning. Is it a new marriage between Raila Odinga? Is it solidified? And what is the purpose of it? We've seen so many, if you look at the reactions in relation to Madaraka Day, I'm from Homa Bay, so I've had people saying that, when the president danced to Inda's song of, I can't sing, I would have sung for you, but my sound not so good. But when the song says, one, waonge wasiwasi, like we don't have worries, hatuna midomo nyingi, wachua doma na teach. We are just working. So that is something that the president quoted on Madaraka Day. And it is in relation to the broad-based government. So is it really in government, considering all that have happened for the past 7 days or so, the tour to the Nyanza region, the Madaraka Day celebration, and the pact between Raila Odinga and President William Ruto? What comes of it? What comes of this relationship? Is it a political relationship, or is it just a general thing, a genuine thing where the president is focused on working with everyone in the government? Remember, these two people were rivals during the 2027 elections. They threw so many harsh words towards each other, and right now we are having them working together. So what is politics like? Like they say, si maneno ya kuweka kwa roho. So that's what we'll be also talking about this morning, about the aftermath of Madaraka Day celebration, especially now that it happened in the Nyanza region. Something else that I want to bring to your attention this morning before we get to what is happening on our roads and the weather updates is a conspiracy theory, or several conspiracy theory in relation to why women should work. This is a month where, June is a month where we celebrate, or we really talk about men's mental health, encouraging them to speak up, encouraging them to find help groups, encouraging them to engage in activities that get them off stress and everything that brings mental torture to them. So it's a month that we encourage men to consider their mental health. But then there is these theories that are coming forth, and these are conspiracy theories in relation to should women work. And yesterday I was asking a number of people, friends, concerning this thing, because it is something that I planned to address or ask you also at home, or viewer, what's your views about women at work? Some theories say that the theory of the corporate agenda, where the governments came together and decided that, you know what, we need to increase our tax base. And what do we need to do? Let's bring something called women empowerment. Let's bring feminists on board so that they bring the narrative of women empowerment and all that women should work. But in real sense, this is to increase the tax base, or to make the governments increase their GDP. And this is something that most people, especially feminists, they don't agree with, that the governments came together and decided that, you know what are these women? They are capable of doing this and increasing our income margins as a country. So let's bring them on board. And how well can we bring them on board? It's through women empowerment. So that is one of the conspiracy theories surrounding women at workplace. Another one is the women at workplace undermines traditional family values. And this, they say that it's a deliberate attempt to dismantle traditional family structures and the caregiving roles. And I believe this, the people who believe this are those people who are really into culture. And most of them, I don't know, let me not call them how I think, but this is a theory where it says that having women on going to work, it is something that was brought forth to kill that traditional, that a woman should cook, a woman should do what, a woman should be taking care of children. It is something that is brought forth to kill that, and it's a deliberate attempt to dismantle traditional family structures and caregiving roles. That is another theory. Another theory is the feminist takeover theory, where women are entering the workforce to push men out of leadership roles and establish a feminist-dominated society. That is also another theory. And it brings fear, especially to men, for reasons known to them, that women are going to be replacing them at workplaces. We've seen CEOs and all that, and we've had theories. We even have books that, for example, nice girls don't get the corner office. We've had several books coming up to push women into this, getting to these places, and they are told how to be bitches. There are also books called Why Men Love Bitches, and all that, why bitches get whatever they want on the way. We have books like The Subtle Art of Not Giving Up, such books coming about, and it's something to shape women to these leadership roles, because they are perceived to be emotional creatures. So these books are coming forward to make them, these strong women, these resilient women. That is also another theory surrounding women at workplaces. And then we have workplace feminization weakens institutions. This is another theory where it says the growing presence of women in workplaces diminishes competitiveness and reduces effectiveness. Why is that? Women are believed to be emotional. They will make decisions based on their emotions. Like you are hiring, and because you don't like how this person sounds, whether they are competitive or not competitive, you're not going to pick them. And this, they say, critics and they say that this makes the workplaces, merits, promotions and all that being based on, balancing gender instead of merit. Someone is qualified, so they should move forward. For example, we have the two-third gender rule. We've seen that in parliaments. Is it really that these ladies who are kept in these positions really qualified for those positions? Or are they kept in those positions just because they're women? So there's that theory also of women at workplaces. And that is about the theories surrounding women at workplaces. And from where you sit, what is it like? What do you think about women at workplaces? We are talking about a month where there is finance bill and there is everyone working to increase the tax bracket, to increase our GDP. So what do you think about women at workplaces? Those are just some of the reasons, and I'll be reading your feedbacks as you bring them in on our social media platforms. This show is live on YouTube at KUTV Kenya, so you can send in your feedback, or you can also share it via our Twitter and use the hashtag Biashara Tuesday. Now, on that note, let's take a look at what is happening on our roads and the weather situation. Right, now if you woke up this early in the morning and it is a Tuesday that looks like a Monday, you're aware that if you're going to work, then sure bet there are several snarl-ups, especially in Nairobi if you're heading to town. So beginning from where I come from, today in the morning from Bypass all the way to Githurai, there was heavy traffic. That is from 6 a.m. in the morning. I don't know how the situation is right now, but according to Google, the situation seems to be the same, but now not from Bypass. Right now, it's beginning from Safari Park all the way to Allsops, all the way to, it's really heavy today on Thika Road. That is from Safari Park all the way to Pangani Interchange. So if you're using Thika Road, if you were to use Thika Road, find an alternative, because it does not look good. Completely, it does not look good. There is so much heavy traffic, and it's really affecting those people who are also coming from Kiambu Road, joining towards Muthaiga Interchange through Pangani. So the situation is the same. If you're using the two roads, it's unfortunate for you, but if you can have an alternative, if you are to use Thika Road and you can have an alternative, please do so. It will serve you great. And also, those people coming from Langata Road, that is around Bunyala Road. That's around, which stadium is this? Nyayo Stadium. Those people entering through Mombasa Road, through that place. The traffic situation on that, as always, as expected, if you're entering town through that direction, through Nairobi Expressway, it's also the same situation. The traffic is heavy. So those are people coming from Thika Road, and those who are joining town through Mombasa Road, through the Nyayo zone. You can also use alternative routes. That is, the other roads leading to town look quite okay, except for little here and there snarl-ups, I guess, because it looks like a Monday. So most roads leading to town are heavily packed, because most of the people are going to town right now or resuming their duties right now. And also on the weather situation, in Nairobi, from where we are right now, it's quite warm, because I even saw some people this morning, they were not bothered to have sweaters and all that. So it is a place, from where we sit right now in Nairobi, it's quite warm. I don't know about other towns. You can share in your feedbacks how it feels like from where you are. and share with us if it's raining, if it's not raining. Nairobi does not look like it will rain anytime soon. So that is on the weather situation in Nairobi. So at this point, we'll be taking a look at the news updates, what happened during the Madaraka Day celebration, what happens during the weekend, where we had politicians have their sentiments on the state of politics in the country ahead of the 2027 elections, ahead of the finance bill hearing, and everything in between that surrounds activism in the country. So we'll be taking a look at the news updates in a few after this short break. All right, now let's talk about how people are turning trash into treasure. We have had situations where people we have had the glass making processes. Those people were turning the glass waste into usable glass. We've had situations where people are turning plastics into usable things, and now this is also a situation where, or a story we are going to be talking about right now, is about people collecting garbage and turning them into something that helps them earn a living, and in the process they are helping in conservation of the environment. That's what we are going to be looking at right now before we get to the break and get to the news updates.
See trash, others see treasure. Across neighborhoods and markets, creative hands are reshaping the future.
Raymond, niko Githurai 44. Hapa as you can see tunachapa business ya kurecycle waste. Tuna collect zote tunaweka pamoja. Ni ile kitambo tu hatukuwa ngadi na kazi, hatukuwa na uradi. Sasa tukakaa chini. By the time kulikuwa na other dealers wa scrap metals. Huko mtani tunaitanga ilikuwa. So tukasema mbona pia sisi tusianzishe kitu kama hii, to give back kwa community yetu. Huku Dorie juu hakuna mali kama, hakuna biz kama hii ilikuwa. Tuko na hizi na kama mabati. Hizi tunaitanga light per kilogram ni 30 bob. Hapa tuko na tissue watu wanadharau sana, lakini tissue ni pesa. So tissue hapa hadi kama imetumika, watu wa maklabu unaleta, tuna recycle pia. Tuko na hizi polythene za colorless. Hizi pia tunachukua 1 kilogram ni 20 bob. Hizi cans za pombe hizi. But sasa sisi sana machoko cha hizi jua kama cans za tei cans. Sisi tunaita jest. Kama hii yote just imagine ingekuwa huko kwa street huko kwenu. Mnakanyaga, yani imedunga hadi watoto wenu miguu. But sasa sisi tumezicollect, ona iko na hip, ni kama mountain. Hii kilogram tunachukua na 80 bob. Just 80 bob naleta kilo moja. Kuna box, cartons, hiyo tunaita kama kote. Hizo tunachukua na hiyo kilogram ni 10 bob. Hizi mitungi za mafuta, as you can see, kuna kama hii drum iliharibika. Watu wanadharau sana viatu, unatupa. Kama hii ilienda, hii tunachukuanga soles. Tunachukuanga hizi soles. So ukiona kama kiatu imeharibika na pia huwezi pea mtu kiatu aibu, unaleta tunapima, hiyo bado ni pesa. Kilo ni 20 bob. Hizi ni chupa za tei za glass. Kama hizi zingepasuka kwa njia, zingekata watu, lakini sisi tunazichukua. Kitu tunataka kwa accomplish kabisa ni kutoa waste yote kwa society. Sisi tunataka to keep a clean society yenye ni safe for everyone.
One bottle, One book page, one piece of glass at a time. Well, beauty does lie in the eyes of the beholder. That empty plastic bottle you see as useless can be made into something vibrant. In the right hands, it could become something more. A basket, woven from strips of plastics, strong enough to carry stories. A broom, sweeping away not just dust, but also old ideas of trash that limit us to the hidden treasure. A curtain, catching light, crafted from what others threw away. A planter, giving life to new greens in a container which had once had no life. Old sacks, once used and forgotten, now sprout green life in backyard gardens, feeding families and greening spaces.
Call me Rambo in that south side. Straight in school, but in the streets I was bent.
Naitwa Magi kutoka Zimmerman. Hapa ni Roysambu, our job location.
Those old pages of that book or newspaper you no longer read can be transformed into beautiful art.
First, tunaziendea kwa institutions like schools, malls.
Plain white, once printed and read, now folded, layered and shaped.
Documents in a institution, zingine ni zina deal na transactions zenye wanafanya. So hawawezi kuuzia hivyo tu. So they must do something.
Transformed into craft, into purpose, into something that lives on.
Yeah, sasa tunazikausha. Una time jua ikiwaka hivi tu unazikausha, then unazipack. Tunauzia kampuni yenye wana recycle sasa. Hii kazi imenisaidia. I have 2 children na wote wako shule na hii kazi ndio inawa sustain.
Broken glass that you throw away in fear of getting cuts can be reimagined into stunning pieces that catch the eyes of buyers. Once tossed aside, now shine again, turned into bold, beautiful wall art that tells a different kind of story. This isn't just recycling, it's reinvention. Creating art with a purpose for an environment-friendly future.
So put down those shoes that I like, and we'll go and dance the night away.
Right, June is a month full of many things, and on 5th June every year, the world celebrates International Environment Day. It is a day when there is a nationwide or international lobbying and empowerment to encourage environmental conservation. But these are just a few people who are trying to manage waste in our cities, and specifically this is in Nairobi. But what about someone who is in Eldoret? What about someone who is in Karen? What about someone who is not in their area? Someone who cannot get to them to give them their waste around Roysambu area. So it is your responsibility as a person to ensure that your environment is clean and safe. Disposing your waste in an organized manner, having your plastic waste on one area, having your degradable waste in one area is an easier way for you to really encourage environmental conservation, and disposing your waste in the right manner, not just throwing or littering anywhere, because this will really make the efforts of those who are really trying to make the world a better place or a healthy place, conserving the environment, it will make their work really difficult. So it is everyone's responsibility to ensure that we conserve our environment. And as we head towards the 5th of June, that is in 2 days, celebrating Environmental Day, please let's make sure that it is our personal role to maintain our environment. There's several inventions are on board, ensuring climate smart agriculture and all that, and using clean energy in our cooking, in our movement. it is also something that we should consider embracing. For example, using electric motorbikes and electric cars and all that, using gas instead of charcoal. Those are some of the ways that we can use to ensure that we conserve our environment instead of encouraging deforestation in our country for firewood or for getting our energy, or using fossil fuels that release carbon and other chlorofluorocarbons to our environment. So it's even as we push towards getting benefits of carbon credits as per the international standard, it's also a responsibility to ensure that we maintain a clean and healthy environment. Now at this point, we are taking a short break, and we will be back with the news updates.
So my name is Jakub Petri. I'm Associate Professor in the Institute of Philosophy of Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. And I'm the main coordinator of the CAFE project, which is being here hosted by Kenyatta University.
My name is Ewa Hudoba. I am a project manager in this consortium. Keep watching cutting-edge research at Kenyatta University Television.
Access to knowledge. Solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Naam, ungana nami Malkia wa Taarab katika mitindo ya kipwani hapa KUTV. Yaani tunapozungumzia mitindo ya kipwani basi unaona napigwa na mawimbi makali sana ya baharini kutoka katika ufuo wa hoteli moja inayofahamika kama North Coast Beach Hotel, ambao ndio wadhamini wa kipindi hiki cha mitindo ya kipwani. Penzi mtazamaji, kwenye mitindo ya kipwani hutakosa kupata mapishi ya vyakula vya kipwani. Yaani hapa tunazungumzia vyakula vilivyokolezwa na kukorombezwa. Iliki, karafuu, abdalasini, samaki wa baharini, vyakula vilivyopikwa na kusukwa kwa kutumia nazi. Bila kusahau mazungumzo ya moja kwa moja, mazungumzo ya kusisimua na wataalam tofauti, waandishi wa vitabu waliobobea, watunzi wa kuhani mashairi. Bila kusahau mpenzi mtazamaji, taratibu zetu za taarabu na chakacha. Yaani pale ni pale ambapo viuno vya wanawake vinazungushwa kisawasawa kama panga boy za trekta ndani ya KUTV mitindo ya kipwani. Ukiwa nami nahodha wako Waridi Tamu. Usiyakose matamu jamani.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mkwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu mwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia.
They find it quite strange talking to you.
We should just make schools integrated,
Inclusive setups.
by providing the right facilities.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University, where education meets innovation. KUTV, the premier university television station in Kenya, is now offering short courses in TV studio, field technical operations, and video editing. Through these courses, you will acquire hands-on skills on camera operations, media production, lighting techniques, audiovisual editing, and sound and visual control, and how to operate key equipment in modern TV control room. Enroll today at KUTV and discover your full potential in cutting-edge TV broadcasting. Graduates of these courses will receive professional certificates. For more information, visit our offices at KUTV studios or call us on 020-870-4252 or 020-870-4255 or SMS us on 0739-110-544. KUTV, a new experience.
Right, welcome back. Now this is KUTV Biashara Tuesday, and the show is Rise Today, where we wake up with you in the morning, giving you updates on the economic situation of the country, political situation in the country, telling you what is happening or what is shaping your world, what is trending in your world, and this is on a positive impact. So if you're looking for that show that is always keeping you updated every morning and keeping you powered, we have Biashara Tuesday, or we have you at heart this morning. Now, at this point, let's take a look at the news updates, what has been happening through Madaraka celebration, the holiday, the long holiday that you have had at home, what has been trending or what has been shaping the world of news. And that we begin right now by a controversial story where Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi and his Ugandan counterpart Agatha Atuhaire revealed the suffering and torment they claim to have experienced at the hands of police officers in Tanzania. The two were found a few weeks ago at the border of Tanzania and their respective countries in poor health conditions. They alleged that they were sexually abused along with other forms of torture. Activist groups in the continent are now calling on the United Nations to impose international sanctions on the presidents of Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania.
They had promised to tell the ordeal they claim to have gone through while in the custody of the Tanzanian police officers. And today, they narrated what they said happened to them in the land of Mama Samia Suluhu. It was a story full of tears. Kenyan activist Boniface Mwangi and Agatha Atuhaire from Uganda, who were detained by the Tanzanian police officers while they were attending the controversial treason case of opposition leader of the Chadema party Tundu Lissu, described how their journey, which according to them was to show solidarity with Lissu, turned into a nightmare of torture and suffering. The two claimed that they were sexually assaulted during the ordeal.
Kamoto. Some guy put lubricant in my rectum, in my anus, and then started inserting objects. Insert objects and pull it up.
And I felt like I was suffocating. It was as if they have covered my nose, my mouth, and I couldn't breathe. I'd never been blindfolded my whole life. What's funny is that I thought that they would come. I knew that they would come. I just didn't know it would come in Tanzania.
Various activists across Africa have condemned the atrocities that the two, who were still recovering from injuries they claim to have sustained in Tanzania before being returned to their home countries, experienced.
Atrocities are not isolated incidents. They are deliberate and coordinated strategy used by East Africa's autocrats, William Ruto, Samia Suluhu Hassan, and Yoweri Museveni, in desperate, unconstitutional, and increasingly violent and terroristic bids to cling to power.
Activist groups across the continent are now calling on the United Nations and other international organizations to impose international sanctions on the East African presidents who are perpetuating the oppression of activists. while also demanding a thorough investigation into the torture experienced by Boniface Mwangi and Agatha Atuhaire. Blue Smail Hassan, KUTV.
Now that is a discussion we'll also be having on the newspaper review because it's given prominence in both the Daily Nation and the Standard. Now moving on, leaders across the country are urging the government to ensure public participation in the passage of the Finance Bill 2025-2026 set to take effect on July 1st. They emphasize that engaging citizens in the processes will prevent misunderstandings and opposition like those witnessed during the passage of the 2024 Finance Bill.
As the Finance Bill 2025-2026 undergoes public participation before parliamentary debate and enactment, citizens are encouraged to review the bill and contribute their suggestions. The National Treasury notes that the bill includes major amendments aimed at closing tax loopholes and improving efficiency. The Finance and Planning Committee of the National Assembly, led by Molo MP Kuria Kimani, has especially invited Kenyan youths to participate by submitting feedback digitally, removing the need for physical attendance. The Finance Bill 2025, tabled in Parliament on April 30th, proposes changes to several tax laws, including the Income Tax Act, the Value Added Tax Act, and the Excise Duty Act. 12 counties like Laikipia, Elgeyo Marakwet, Nandi, Makueni, Migori, Nyeri, Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, Wajir, Samburu, and Kwale have been identified for public participation exercise whose input will help shape the bill ahead of the 4.24 trillion budget presentation in June. This follows the rejection of the 2024 Finance Bill, which saw large public opposition and widespread unrest and casualties due to the turmoil surrounding the bill. Meanwhile, Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi has emphasized the need for citizen involvement in the 2025-2026 Finance Bill process to prevent misunderstandings and division. He cautioned that rushing the bill without adequate public consultation could lead to instability.
2025 Finance Bill. I think we need a national conversation. Watu ni vizuri tuzungumze. Kwa sababu tukianzana hivyo, watu wengine huko Mombasa wataanza hivyo, wengine huko Nyanza, wengine mahali gine watasema tunakataa. Unakataa nini? Kwanza tusome ile utaki, kuna public participation, tuingie kule.
Rajab Juma, KUTV.
Now, researchers warn that the financial crisis gripping many local universities is undermining research and innovation efforts, with institutions struggling to fund projects to completion. Speaking during an innovation forum at Zitech University that brought together research stakeholders from across the country, the African Population and Health Research Center Executive Director, Dr. Catherine Kyobutungi, called for collective efforts to revive research hubs in the country. Stephen Masha with the details.
Speaking during a stakeholders forum, the African Population and Health Research Center Executive Director Dr. Catherine Kyobutungi said most universities have been forced to prioritize basic education delivery at the expense of research and innovation due to financial constraints. Kyobutungi called for urgent partnership between universities, the government and the private sector to safeguard the future of innovation in Kenya. She decried the low investment in research by most African governments, which currently stands at an average of 0.45% of their GDP.
I think I would call upon government to increase the 0.45 or the 0.6. The AU target is 1%, and there are other targets which are 2% of GDP. So if government would invest more into these innovations, at least move them from the innovation stage to the innovation stage and the use stage. So that is one stakeholder. But then the other one is private sector. That the recognition that there's a lot of talent, not just in this university, but in this country. Young people that are really, really highly talented.
Anthony Mudungu, one of the innovators who developed a durable charging cable using the Zitech Innovation Hub, said that lack of recognition and financial support are major barriers for young innovators.
And also we also struggle now from the high cost of electricity, which is also becoming, because most of our production requires a very heavy production machineries, and also heavy taxation. The government can assist us in what we are doing by probably linking us with other institutions that are locally producing other electronic devices that requires these chargers that we are producing. Like you can also like other companies that are locally assembling mobile phones that requires the devices that we are using.
Zitech University Deputy Vice Chancellor Professor Alice Njuguna called on innovators across the country to make use of available resources, noting that the institution provides mentorship, funding and international exposure to students with promising innovations.
Industry and the university are two sides of the same coin, right? So we would want to encourage the government to encourage investors to invest in the universities, because that's where the brains are, and also the universities to come up with market-relevant products, because again, what you come up with has to be bought by the market. A number of students are doing a lot of robotics and looking at climate change. Like for example, you have an innovation by our students who are collecting carbon credits, who are assisting for collecting carbon credits, so that we can be able to report at the global level, as you heard from the Vice Chancellor's speech.
The stakeholders unanimously called for stronger collaboration between institutions of higher learning, government agencies and the private sector to revive the innovation ecosystem and secure the country's future research and development. They emphasized that without deliberate investment and inclusive policies, Kenya risks losing a generation of talented innovators whose ideas could drive economic growth, job creation and technological advancement. Stephen Maisha, KUTV, Nairobi.
Now, that is a story on university funding. We talked about stories related to education, and this is part of it, the university funding. We also have the CBC crisis that currently the grade 9 learners are required to pick up subjects or schools rather that will be relevant depending on their career choices. Now, moving on, Garissa Township, a member of parliament, that is Diko Mohammed, has urged the Ministry of Education to make proper preparations for students transfer from grade 9 to grade 10 next year in order to avoid misunderstanding among both parents and students. Senior school, which includes grade 10 through 12, will officially commence in January 2026, marking the start of the pioneer grade 9 cohort. Speaking at an NGCDF bursary issuing conference in Garissa, the Member of Parliament warned the government against making last-minute preparations that could jeopardize the implementation of CBC. However, in response, Garissa Township Sub-County Director of Education, Rashid Mukhtar, confirmed that the government has made all required preparations, including curriculum creation and teacher retooling.
Look at the national government, Ministry of Education, we don't want always to have haphazard ways of implementing government programs. This program of CBC and CBE was there for the last 7 or so years. But now we understand that nothing is in place for transition from junior secondary school to senior secondary school. So we're asking the minister or the CS in charge of this program to ensure that we do not have confusion during this transition.
KICD also has prepared the materials and the textbooks for grade 10. Schools will receive, I think, somewhere by August around there. So there we are very much ready. Learners who are currently in grade 9 in our junior schools, placement for senior school has already kicked off on 26th of May this year.
Now that is on matters education. We are moving on to matters in relation to governance and politics, especially of political parties. And this is where Embu Governor Cecile Mbarire has issued a strong warning to unnamed individuals within the United Democratic Alliance, that is UDA party, and government officials who are trying to sabotage her leadership. Speaking in Beira North, she claimed that secret meetings were being held to plot her downfall and that she would expose them if this norm persisted. Her comments came shortly after Deputy President Professor Kithure Kindiki's surprise visit to Embu. Additionally, Mbarire defended Muguka trade, stating that it's legally recognized and vital to Embu's economy. She criticized recent county-level bans, calling them unlawful, and urged for consistent national policies to protect farmers and traders in Miraa value chain.
Mimi munajua mimi ni chairperson wa UDA party. Na kama
kalinda dipendwa kadira lakini tendira ngaia iko. Lakini nimeanza kuona kuna watu wameanza kunipangia njama, na ni watu wako kwa serikali ile mimi napigania kila siku.
Now moving on, Tharaka Nithi Governor and Chairperson of the Council of Governors Health Committee, Mudomi Njuki, has expressed support for the Ministry of Health's proposal to shift universal health coverage staff to counties, but has requested a head count. According to Governor Njuki, there is a possibility of approximately 3,000 ghost workers within the UHC workforce, with the centralized payment of staff at the Ministry of Health contributing significantly to the disparities observed. Governor Njuki said that millions of taxpayers' money was being lost due to the payment of ghost UHC staff, and that a head count will be the only way to get the true facts.
Katika Tharaka Nithi tuko na 219 of them. As we talk today, in Tharaka Nithi, sidhani hata kuna yote ako kwa kazi, because they went on strike kwa sababu waliandikwa, interview ilifanywa hapa katika county, na si Tharaka Nithi peke yake, katika Kenya mzima sisi ndio tulifanya interview. Lakini pero ile inawalipa na pale wanalipwa na serikali kuu. Hiyo ni system ambayo haiwezi fanya kazi. Ati kwamba yule alikufanyia interview na pale unafanya kazi ni county government, lakini mshahara inatoka national. Na kabla yule wa national akulipe, aangaliangi ama ajui kama wewe uko kazi ama yuko kazi. And we have discovered one thing, Bwana County Commissioner. The government of Kenya is losing taxpayers' money by paying ghost UHC workers who cannot be accounted for.
Now, still on leadership and politics that are related to leadership, Kilifi County leaders have demanded respect for their governor, Gideon Mungaro, from political critics in the region. Speaking during an event held at Ganze Boys grounds, they highlighted that some opponents to the governor are crossing the lane of respect.
Disrespectful opposition, led by the members of Parliament for Kaloleni Paul Katana, Ganze Kenneth Tunguli. The Ganze Boys High School grounds turned into a political arena when Governor Mungaro allies warned those who they termed as disrespectful opposition. Led by the members of Parliament for Kaloleni Paul Katana, Ganze Kenneth Tungule and Kilifi woman representative Mbegu Mwanyanje, they have called out those disrespecting the governor that they will not be tolerated within the county.
Gavana yuko na mamlaka makubwa sana. Na leo mimi nimesema sitasema mambo mengi. Nataka gavana heshimiwe. Waganze mupo? Waganze mupo? Nataka gavana Gideon Maitha Mung'aro aheshimiwe na viongozi wote. Kama kiongozi atatokelezea akejeli gavana, atukane gavana, mimi Mbeyu sitakubali.
The leaders blamed opponents for the rift in the county assembly, forcing some MCAs to attack the county boss.
Ile ambayo mimi naomba ndugu zangu madiwani wa Kilifi, viongozi wenzangu, nyinyi mlichaguliwa pamoja na gavana. Shikaneni na gavana, mfanye kazi na gavana ili muweze kupanga miradi katika maeneo yenu ili wananchi hawa waweze kupata faida ya uongozi wetu.
Kaloleni Member of Parliament Paul Katana said Kilifi will not be ruled by negative politics. Katana urged leaders to shun away from 2027 politics.
Tusikubali kugawanywa na watu ambao hawako mamlaka. Sisi kama viongozi tutasimama pamoja na gavana umalize kipindi chako.
Mbeyu Mwanyanje, the Kilifi County women representative, echoed the same, calling out some MCAs from Kilifi to refrain from being used by political opponents to the governor, adding that Kilifi members of National Assembly were all behind the governor to achieve his tenure. The host of the event, Ganze Member of Parliament Kenneth Tungule, urged the governor to unite all leaders from Kilifi, saying it was the only way to peace and prosperity of the county. He further affirmed his allegiance to the governor, saying he had performed tremendously in his 2.5 years of governance in Kilifi.
Mimi kama mbunge nimesema nitafanya kazi na wewe na nitakuunga mkono kuhakikisha kwamba malengo yako yanatimia. Mheshimiwa Gavana, nataka nikwambie usikuwe na wasiwasi. Kama vile tumeongea pale katika mkutano, hivyo ndivyo itafanyika. Mimi sina shaka kabisa kuwa hawa wakazi wa Ganze watakuregesha katika kipindi cha pili.
The leaders now call upon the Kilifi administration to carry out development plans to Kilifi residents without the political rift.
Now still in the coastal region, Malindi Deputy County Commissioner DCC David Lusava has issued a stern warning to parents and juvenile offenders in the sub-county, saying they could face arrest and prosecution for neglecting their parental duties. Lusava condemned the rise of machete and knife-wielding gangs of young criminals and blamed poor parenting for the menace.
The Malindi Deputy County Commissioner David Lusava took a hard stance on juvenile criminal parents, criticizing the current parental neglect that has proved to be on the rise.
Kumezungumzwa mambo ya vikundi vya mawoza. Hatutarajii kuona hawa watu tena. Wazazi tuchukue jukumu la kuangalia watoto wetu wanafanya nini. Sasa tukipata mtoto wako ni woza, hata wewe mzazi tutakufuata, tutawafuata, tuulize ulikuwa wapi. We will even arrest the parents who are wala watoto hawa, because tumekuwa tukiimba kila wakati.
Diction. Machete and knife-wielding gangs of young criminals as young as 10 years old, known as Mawoza, have sprouted in various parts of Malindi and its environs, instilling fear among residents and overwhelming the security agencies.
Wazee wetu wa vijiji, serikali hivi karibuni tutafanya rollout ya kuanza hiyo village administration, ambapo sasa serikali imewatambua rasmi, utakuwa part of the administrative structure. Na hatutafanya kazi na wewe kama wewe ni mzee wa kijiji, kwako ndio kuna mambo mabaya, watoto wako ndio wale wanakata watu na mapanga, watoto wako ndio wanafanya mambo yote maovu. We will not entertain you.
The administrator also warned against the killing of innocent elders on suspicion of witchcraft practice and the invasion of private and public land. He warned that perpetrators will face the law. Malindi Sub-County Administrator Dadu Chome said the county government of Kilifi was in the process of developing a new law to govern the management of land within the county.
Tumekuwa na sheria za kuangazia masuala ya ardhi, lakini hapa kwetu Kilifi hatujakuwa na sera ambayo inaongoza serikali na washikadau kuweza kushughulikia masuala ya ardhi. Na hivi sasa kama ilivyoelezwa katika speech hii ya Mheshimiwa Governor, tuko na hiyo sera ambayo sasa inafanyiwa public participation, na inapokamilika na kupitishwa pale bungeni, sisi kama watu wa Kilifi tutakuwa na sera ambayo itakuwa inatuongoza kuweza kutatua changamoto zetu za masuala ya ardhi.
Some of the Malindi leaders attributed this rising habit to drug abuse.
Ukipoteza mmoja katika utumizi wa madawa ya kulevya ni hasara kubwa sana, si kwa mzazi, ni kwa nchi mzima. Kijana yote ambaye anaingia katika utumizi wa madawa ya kulevya, hakusoma, hana ajira, anazunguka, anakuwa mhalifu, anaanza kushambulia watu kwa vipanga. Haya yote yanasababishwa na utumizi wa madawa ya kulevya.
However, the residents and community leaders have shown hope that the county security team will make Malindi a safe place again. Elimelek Mudori for KUTV.
At this point, let's take a look at what happened during Madaraka Day celebration, and ODM leader Raila Odinga urged President William Ruto to compensate families of Kenyans who were killed or injured during last year's Gen Z protests. Raila made the remarks during Madaraka Day celebrations held in Homa Bay County, and as our political reporter Blue Ismail Hassan reports, the celebrations appeared to showcase growing support for President Ruto, which is a fruit of the broad-based government.
The Madaraka Day celebration gave Kenyans an opportunity to reflect on the direction of the nation 62 years since the country gained self-rule from the colonial masters.
We have weathered turbulent times, navigated serious challenges, and through courage, policy decisions pursued with resolve, we have not only stabilized our economy, but also charted a clear course to long-term prosperity.
During today's celebration, ODM leader Raila Odinga called on the president and his government to compensate the families of those who lost their lives during the Gen Z protests.
You've had several challenges. We have had a lot of issues. 2 years ago, we were on the streets. And even last year, they were on the streets, the Gen Zs. I saw that during the prayer breakfast recently this week, there was apologies that were being made. The speaker and yourself, which is wonderful as a first step to reconciliation. But then there's the issue of people who are injured.
Today's celebration held in Homa Bay, which is a county that has been an opposition stronghold, has painted a picture of the fruits of the broad-based government, with Deputy President Kithure Kindiki hailing the unity and the efforts to bring the country together.
Reduce barriers brought about by politics, ethnicity, religion. And going forward, Your Excellency, we look forward to your partnership, yourself and His Excellency Raila Odinga, and the rest of us who are fortunate to be in leadership positions, to build a more united Kenya, a more inclusive Kenya, where one's place of birth, religion, ethnicity doesn't have to count, rather their merit and what they bring on board.
The chief guest of the event, who is the president of Slovenia, Nataša Mosar, acknowledged the efforts of the country's heroes in liberating the nation from the colonial masters and called for stronger ties between Slovenia and Kenya, while urging African nations to unite.
We are, after all, an international community, and in a community we look out for one another. And in a community, solidarity matters. In a community, cooperation must be our goal, not selfishness.
The celebrations also demonstrated strong support for President William Ruto in the Nyanza region, which could prove crucial in his quest for a second term come 2027. Blue Ismail Hassan, KUTV.
Now, still on the celebration, Madaraka Day celebration, the 62nd Madaraka Day celebration held at Raila Odinga Stadium in Homa Bay County was full of spectacular shows and entertainments. These spectacular shows began on the eve of Madaraka Day, where the residents of Homa Bay flocked inside the stadium immediately the gates opened. And let's get a look at the pomp and color of Madaraka Day.
Being the first time in the history of Homa Bay County to host this annual Madaraka Day ceremony, the residents could not hide their eagerness to arrive at the Raila Odinga Stadium. The stadium that has a capacity to host over 12,000 people was full to capacity.
Kikundi cha nne, kikundi cha kinadada, chini yake Inspector Mercy Mude, wakiwa kwa mavazi yao mazito ya kikazi. Ohama Juma akishirikiana naye Inspector Evelyn Omu.
This year's Madaraka Day ceremony was just like any other. The crowd's eyes were awakened by Air Force's display as they began demonstrating how they deal with the enemy.
Tazama Mheshimiwa Rais anapopinda miguu yake kama mwewe na kuanza kusoma mahali atakapotua. Moja, akifunga breki ya kwanza, ya pili. Warrant Officer 1, Obadia Midibe. Desired point of impact, Mheshimiwa Rais.
A high level of creativity was also perceived at the ceremony, with 500 kids from 11 schools in Homa Bay County gracing the field for entertainment. They represented the motto of this year's theme, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, by demonstrating through the use of their bodies on the site. They entertained by creating drawings of the MV Homa Bay on Lake Victoria and even a demonstration of a fish.
Ona maajabu, Mheshimiwa Rais wameunda samaki. Mkono wa kushoto ni kichwa, mkono wa kulia ni mkia. Na kwa vile umeshusha bei ya unga wa ugali, mlo umekamilika, Mheshimiwa Rais.
Several artists also performed songs that made President Ruto and President Natas Musar of Slovenia to stand up and...
And now moving on to Madaraka Day theme, where President William Ruto announced a proposal to Parliament to reform the housing levy law, allowing contributors access to affordable home loans of up to 5 million Kenyan shillings. This, alongside youth employment initiatives, shaped discussions during Madaraka Day 2025, whose main focus was on Kenya's blue economy and maritime affairs.
From the shores of Lake Victoria in Homa Bay, this year's Madaraka Day marked a deliberate shift towards harnessing Kenya's untapped maritime wealth. Themed Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs, the celebration spotlighted the government's ambition to transform Kenya into a maritime hub.
Ladies and gentlemen, the blue economy is a central pillar of the bottom-up economic transformation agenda with vast potential for job creation, food security, revenue generation, and rural development.
President William Ruto outlined a comprehensive blueprint to unlock the economic potential of the maritime space through sustainable fisheries, modernized landing sites, and investment in skills and training.
In recognition of the transformative power of technical and vocational education and training, in tackling pressing socio-economic challenges such as youth unemployment, skills gaps, and poverty, the government is aggressively scaling up investment in technical training. TVET colleges enrollment is set to grow fourfold from 500,000 last year to 2 million by the end of this year.
President Ruto proposed reforms to allow housing levy contributors to access home loans of up to 5 million Kenyan shillings.
Fellow Kenyans, in recognition and appreciation of the sacrifice made by patriotic Kenyans through their contributions to the housing levy, I am pleased to announce today that we shall be proposing to Parliament a reform to the law that will allow any contributor to access an affordable home loan of up to 5 million shillings at a single-digit interest rate, applicable towards any housing unit in the market.
He further reiterated the government's support for youth-focused initiatives, including Nyota, the Hustler Fund, and the soon-to-return Kazi Mtaani. Ruto insisted that the youth employment is a key focus for his government. He reflected on the youth employment plan and promised a soon return of the Kazi kwa Vijana initiative.
This effectively integrates them into the mainstream financial system, unlocking greater economic opportunities for them. As part of this financial empowerment program for those at the base of our economy, I am pleased to announce that in recognition of the immense potential of our young people, their critical role in the economy, and their capacity for creativity and innovation, the government of Kenya has partnered with the World Bank to roll out the 20 billion National Youth Opportunity Towards Advancement Project, commonly known as Nyota.
Eliblek Modori for KUTV.
And as Raila Odinga and President William Ruto were enjoying the fruits of the political marriage, on the other hand, where the residents were also in view of tantalizing promises by the political class, former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua came out again, guns blazing on leaders allied to government, stating that they are being used to intimidate and silence Ruto's critics in the mountain. According to Gachagua, who has repeatedly accused the Mount Kenya MPs in government of betrayal, there is a plot to silence the opposition through intimidations and abductions. Gachagua, however, backed Raila Odinga's speech in Madaraka Day celebration on compensation of Gen Z, stating that the government should apologize to Kenyans. The former DP went forward to popularize his one-term slogan, calling on members of the region to fully back him come 2027.
Nyinyi wajumbe, huyu William Ruto, vijana ya kwao ya jamii yake, anapeleka jeshi, anapeleka polisi, wengine anapeleka Australia kufanya kazi. vijana yetu anampatia pesa, muwapatie watupe mawe. Nyinyi ni wajinga kiasi gani? How foolish are you, members of parliament from this region? William Ruto is laughing at you. The people from his community, he takes them to the military, to the police, to NYS, to KRA. Lakini watoto wa mlima, chukueni wapatie pesa watupe mawe. Wapige viongozi hao. Wakimaliza na hiyo kupigana, wachukue hiyo pesa wakakunywa nini? When the history of this community is written, the members of parliament from this community will have a whole chapter of the most foolish leaders ever elected in the Mount Kenya region. William Ruto akimwambia kwenda kupitisha finance bill, mnaenda mnapitisha. Akimwambia ni mbaya, mnasema yesa. Akimwambia mwenda fukuza deputy president, mnaenda mnafukuza. Akimwambia nendeni mupige kanisa mawe, mnaenda mnapiga. You are an embarrassment to the people of this region. And I cannot fathom just how stupid a leader can be. That tunaweza pewa pesa na Ruto kwenda kutuma vijana ndani ya kanisa. It is very embarrassing to us as a people, as a community. Na nyinyi muendelee tu, mtakutana na hawa wananchi.
You know how they say, sema kumeumana? It is really that situation in the country. Cecile Mbarire, who is the chairperson of the United Democratic Party, saying there are people in the government who are plotting against her. The opposition also accusing the government. There is also this pact who says that Raila Odinga is working with William Ruto and covering up for the mistakes that he's doing as a government leader or as the head of the Kenya Kwanza government. Now, it is indeed appropriate to say sema kumeumana. Now, moving on, Faith Rose Njeri remains in custody at Pangani police station after she was arrested on Friday for developing a civic email, a platform that will enable Kenyans send objections to members of parliament regarding the 2025 finance bill. Authorities claim that the tool could incite unrest, though no formal charges have been filed. The arrest has sparked public outrage and sharp condemnation from former Chief Justice David Maraga, Senior Counsel John Khaminwa, and several human rights groups. Busia Senator Okiya Omtata visited the accused on Sunday in solidarity as online campaigns under the hashtag Free Rose Njeri continue to gain national momentum. Now that is on the news updates this morning, and Kenya is a very interesting country. And that those news that you've just heard on your screen will be shaping our newspaper review this morning on the broadcast. We'll be joined by Nick Mwangi, who is the Secretary General at Kenya Ahadi Party, KAP. And also, before we get into the newspaper review, the National Olympic Committee of Kenya, that is NOC, hosted debates for high school students from Nairobi and the Central Region. And as Blue Smile Hassan reports, the debates held at Kenyatta University provided the committee with an opportunity to promote Olympic values to the attending students. Furthermore, the committees The committee's Secretary General Francis Mutuku stated that Kenya is preparing to select a team of students who will represent the nation at the African Association of National Olympic Committees competition that are to be held in August in Algeria.
My name is Kariuki. I'm the treasurer for the National Olympic Committee. Professionally, I'm an accountant. We've been chairing the committee that deals with Olympic values. It's called the NOC Institute. It's a subcommittee that deals with education issues, academic issues, and capacity building within the Olympic movement. I do not have much to say in front of very sharp, eloquent students. I'm very, very impressed with what the young men did here. In my younger days, I was not in any debate club. I was in sports. But I used to see on TV, first I didn't even know there's a debate association which is running debates, so congratulations. I'm online watching Mombasa, Eldoret, and the other areas as they go through this program. I want to thank the staff for doing what they need to do. During our days, and Francis, my friend here, is telling me, the more we attend young things, the more we realize we are old. The debates I used to see on TV, debate association, was they bow down and then they have two groups and then the adjudicators, of course, are seated there. And then the kids are very eloquent in what they're doing. And there will be topics like why ugali is better than chapati. And those kids will do pure research. And they give you all the information about that. Very eloquent. And kids of children of nowadays have moved a step further with the social media and all the gadgets. The topics have moved forward. Our desire, the Olympic movement, is first to introduce to you the Olympic values in the Olympic movement. It's a big thing. Mr. Mutuko here will tell you. It's a desire of the IOC to ensure that we make students aware of what is Olympism and what does Olympic movement policies are, because we are moving forward to even sports. I can tell you, for example, in the Olympics, say 2014 Greece Games, we never had competition like BMX, the small bikes. They have now introduced in the Olympic movement just to get
Excellent. It's such a pleasure for me to be first at this place, Kenyatta University, and to meet the different schools and the different students who are coming to debate. Debating has been one of my favorite subjects. I was not a very good debater in school, but I enjoyed debating a lot, because it meant you spoke, you expressed yourself on a particular topic, you tried to convince everybody to your ideas and to what you believe in, and to also, like the lawyers would say, tear apart your opponent's position in terms of explaining it differently and trying to win the hearts and minds of the other people. And so this is very good that you have such an opportunity to be able to come and discuss, to come and debate on matters around the Olympic. The National Olympic Committee brings together all the federations which participate in the Olympics and the Commonwealth. Olympics is a big movement in this world. We are about 205 nations which participate in Olympics, and we have the 206th one, which is the refugees. You know, we have very many refugees in the world. It was decided that they cannot be left out of the system, so they were included in the Olympics. So every 4 years, the world comes together in celebration of Olympics. A lot of people call it competition, but the main objective is to bring the world together in celebration. And at that time, that's when we have something called the Olympic truce. Olympic truce just means for the 16 days of Olympics, even if countries were at war, they're supposed to pause. Hopefully they don't go back, but they're supposed to pause and not continue fighting during that period. That's why it's so important that the world comes together in celebration. And being part of this movement, we've been informed a lot of you have already opened Olympic clubs in schools. That is a desire for all of us that the entire country will have Olympic schools. And why is it so important to promote Olympism? Olympism is just a way of making this world a better place through sports. Making this world a better place through sports. Because in sports, like Wycliffe has said, there are some very critical values which we have to promote. The value of respect, that you have a competitor, but you respect them. You respect them as your competitor. It's a friendship. Competition is not about enmity. It's about being together. Even today, when you are debating, as you compete, the most important thing is that you are also friends. You promote friendship. It means the people you meet today, you have lifelong relationship. By the time you go to university, by the time you start your careers, those will still be your friends. And the most important, which everybody strives for, is excellence. Everybody strives for excellence. And excellence is not about being better than somebody else. Excellence is just being the best you can be, and that's what we want to promote, both in sports. So for us, we want to invite you to this Nairobi and Central Region competition. We have 6 regions which are currently ongoing. The top 4 schools will be called again back to this place on 22nd, and it's the top schools across all the regions. So the top 4 from this competition will come back again on 22nd for the nationals. Beyond just the competition, we'll be celebrating the Olympic Day. And what is the Olympic Day? Is the day when we celebrate the Olympism. We celebrate the world coming together. We look back at when the Olympics started. We look back at what the Olympics has been able to achieve, and we come back to celebrate. And more practically, for us, the National Olympic Committee promotes Team Kenya. Team Kenya is every time Kenya is participating in a sports event. What sports event is like Olympics, it's like the Commonwealth. African Games are multi-sports. And now, like my colleague Carissa said, we have the youth version, which should be of interest to you. We have the school games, which are coming up in about a month's time. We have the African Youth Games. Next year, we have for the first time Olympics coming to Africa through the Dakar Games, which is the Youth Olympics. And that's what we call the Summer Olympics. Summer Olympics are sports which are done within the summer region. We also have winter sports. And for your information, we also have winter Olympics. Currently, we have 3. We have 2 youngsters who are just like your age. One of them is Ashley in Italy. Another one is called Issa in France. They are participating in what is called winter sports. And we have the best one of them all. She's called Sabrina, who will be competing next year in the Olympics, Winter Olympics, which will be in Italy next year. So this is what we are. We are both the Winter and we are both the Summer Olympics, and that's what it is all about. Olympism, we want people to be able to appreciate the very good virtues, the very good programs around sports. We want to promote something which is normally one of my favorite values, the joy of effort. Do you enjoy putting effort in everything? There should be some joy in effort. So for this, it's the first time we are doing it. It's probably the first in very many. I'm sure our team will be able to do it. And I want to thank the Wycliffe and your team for putting this together. I think this is something we not have been able to put together. I want to thank the teachers who have brought the students. Do you mind standing so that we just clap for you, the teachers who have come? Teachers, because that's such a great job you've done. Thank you very much, teachers, for taking time off your usual work to support the students, to support them in what they want to do, to be able to bring them to this particular competition over a weekend. I'm sure very many of you are very busy. And of course, the students themselves, thank you so much for choosing to be among the people who represent your schools in debate. You know, one of the things people say, you only have one opportunity to make first impression, isn't it? So once you step into a room, you've already made your statement. When you start speaking, you affirm that statement you are making. And if you are very elaborate, if you are very confident, and I'm very impressed by the two students who came to speak here, clearly if it's a representation of all of you, then you are doing very, very well. Extremely confident. And remember, when you are speaking, there is never a mistake. Because who knows what you are going to say? Does anyone know what you are going to say? It's only you who knows what you are going to say. So there's never a mistake. So maybe there's something I was supposed to speak, but you guys don't know whether I've forgotten or whether I've said the wrong thing, do you? Because you don't know what I was going to speak. So even if I make a mistake, it's only me who knows I've made a mistake. So you cover your mistake.
Miti miti, panda panda. Our planet's future is in our hands. However, there is a threat to the brightness of this tomorrow. On EarthCheck, we share the challenges, the solutions, and the hope.
I would call this a very momentous day, a very critical day.
Every episode, every story, every step we take creates a ripple. Join me, the environmentalist Emmanuel Kutosi, on KUTV every Wednesday at 8 p.m. and be part of EarthCheck. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Stella Tioi.
Jina langu naitwa Okemwa Mukwa James.
This is Mandela Gaya.
Ugonjwa ulipokuja ulichukua siku 3 ukaniweka in coma. 20 wamezikwa, 2 ndio wako hai.
I don't even know how it feels to see.
I feel like I cannot express myself well the way somebody who can walk can actually express themselves.
Ilichukua muda mwingi mrefu tena mpana ili kuikubali kwamba mimi siwezi tembea tena.
I've come to actually accept myself.
Ukijaribu kumsimamisha mtu mwambie tafadhali nionyeshe njia.
They find it quite strange talking to you.
We should just make schools integrated,
inclusive setups
by providing the right facilities.
Ni nguzo na uso wa jamii. Kupanda shuka akawa tuzo, ukakamavu wake ukatii na kumfanya mwenye bidii. Kwa machozi na makeke akabaini jinsi ya kuwini. Huyu ni mwanamke ngangari kwa jinsi alivyo ng'ari. Mimi ni mwanamke mwake. Usikose kutazama kipindi cha mwanamke mwake nami Caroline Kimwele.
right, welcome back. This is the newspaper review on the launch, and my guest already in studio with us tonight. So without getting into talking so many things, because we've done that for the past 1 hour or so, let me allow my guest to tell us their name and introduce themselves. I'll begin with you, John.
Asante sana, asante sana. Good morning and good morning, Kenyans. My name is Ujwang Toto Mariam, Senior Warrant Officer. I'm still reminding people that for every Kenyan out there who is true about making their community a better place, they are Kenyans like myself. Like you, I call Kenya, Kenya nai, lakini Kenya watu, so Kenya, That is, it's upon us. We are Kenyans. How can we make this country better? How can we sit down and say, I don't need to run away from my country just to change my life? How can I sweep here, until our country is better? We are hopeful, we have visions, and we have the element of time and energy. That's one thing we were talking about with Nick today in the morning, that sisi vijana manze tunaweza kuwa tuna hii hatuna ile, but as long as tuko na nia, basi njia lazima tutapitia.
Okay, now to you, Nick.
Yes, good morning. My name is Nick Mwangi. I'm the Secretary General of Kenya Hadi Party. First and foremost, let me send you. Is it send you? Greetings from the party. That is from my party leader, Dr. Chege Waweru. And of course, I'm coming from a small, or rather, loudest constituency in Nairobi, called Roysambu constituency, and they're great people there. One famous lady, if you don't know Mama Roysambu, by the name Jade Wamboi, please look for her. She's one amazing lady that makes Roysambu shake because of the great initiatives that are meant for either the young people, the young ladies, the rights of the community. And this is what we need as a generation. Let us not fight for what is just ours, but what is for the greater good of the community. So, and then it's also good to say, this panel is born and raised in Roysambu constituency. Me and Ojua from Roysambu, and you too? Then. It's a Roysambu affair. Yes, so good to be here.
Welcome.
Yes,
welcome.
yes.
Karibu sana. Now, over the weekend, we've had a really very, very long weekend. So much has been happening from Friday to today. From the last time we were on this show, Biashara Tuesday last week, it was the month of May. Now we're in June. So many things have been happening. And over the weekend, we've had a celebration of a political relationship or engagement that saw us witness a shift in how the Gen Z, especially from the Nyanza region, view the broad-based government initiative. Initially, we had, I don't know what happens in the Nyanza region, but whenever Raila Odinga goes, that's where everyone goes. And this time round, when he was coming in relation with the government, there was this resistance that, you know what, you have betrayed us and all that. But after this Madaraka celebration, there's a change of tone. And what I hear from the young generation is that we are in the government. And it's something that has been seen being said by the older generation, especially the political class, who after several CSS or leaders joining government, it was something that it was mostly seen with the government. But after this Madaraka celebration and the the development tour in the Nyanza region, we've seen a shift of tone where the young people are also involved in that conversation, that, you know what, we are also part of the government. And this has created a shift. On the other end, when the political class, the broad-based government was having the celebration in Nyanza, in the central region, the former deputy president on his side was also rallying the Mount Kenya votes. And this time, he came out really fierce with words, if I may say so, using words like the foolish leaders. he cannot fathom how it's going to be like in 2027. And he came really with very harsh words. And we have also seen a shift in terms of tone, especially from the young people, those who are upcoming leaders. At least, not everyone, not all everyone, but the ones I've interacted with Gachagwa's party coming forth, they are moving towards that direction. In the beginning, it was a conversation of, we are not seeing a difference between any leader. You're all the same. Raila Odinga, Gachagua, Kindiki, and all of you, you're all the same. You're all liars, you're all leaders, you're all opportunists. But right now we are seeing a shift in conversation after this Madaraka Day celebration. So from where you see it, let me begin with you, Juang. How do you take this post-Madaraka Day mood that is entering the country?
This year's Madaraka Day was special because for myself, we started it at our constituency where we had a very successful Mr. and Miss Resambu 2025. Youths came together to promote mental health, resilience through talent and creativity. It was splendid. It was a moment whereby you see all politicians now coming together and starting to speak in one voice. I would credit it to, we are nearing election, the campaigns are high, but I would also say it's something we need as a country. We need to come together. We are all fighting Ruto, but wewe una fight Ruto ukielekea huku, huyu ana fight Ruto akielekea huku, huyu ana fight Ruto. In fact, even those eating from Ruto are still saying they are fighting Ruto. It is because we the youths have come to realize kumbe shida yote bado ni sisi. We keep saying sisi ndio tutabadilisha. We keep crying sisi ndio ulia sana. We keep crying sisi ndio minority. Yet kwa facts we are the majority. On paper we are the majority. But kwa list ya IEBC utapata kuna watu majina yao hayako. Hawa watu ndo hao wenye unasikia anapewa punch leo anaimba. Si necessarily ikue that the Lake region ishaanza kukua softer on the music they are playing towards praising President Ruto. But hiyo si kupekee ndo walifanya hivyo. Because it is in the same region whereby last week we had President Ruto asking them, anauliza wa Kenya, wale ambao mnasema wanasema one term, mtawaambia aje? Nao wa Kenya wanajibu Ruto wanamwambia Ruto must go. So Ruto akisema one term, nao wanasema Ruto must go. These people, ndo the same people wenye first June wakilipwa, walibadilisha. Does that 1,000 or 500 say that their problems have gone? No, their problems are still there. They will wake up the next day, wapata hiyo dhao imeisha, na waseme, huyu Kasongo ni muongo. Alafu waanze kusema atumwa home. But in other regions, people are coming together. It is okay. Let those people who follow or used to follow Raila then go to Raila. Let those people who follow Rigathi follow Rigathi. We were talking about how that party will move waves, and people have been saying, "Huyu Rigathi hawezi hii." Just because he promised people that the mountain cannot be touched, it was touched and slapped, and now ndio tunaanza kuongelea kwa hii slapping, can we still at least retain pension ya the second deputy president? But si anapata watu bado. Hawa watu wote kila mtu akirudi kwao ni sawa. Lakini 2027 tuungane sote na tuache politics za kutenganisha watu na kutusi watu. For example, utasikia DCP wakisema wao pekee ndio wanapiga Kasongo, wale wengine wote ni watu wa Ruto. Amesema hadi Kenya hadi party pia hiyo ya Ruto. The SG is here, tutamuuliza leo, nyinyi ni wa Ruto? Juu tuko hapo hivyo, kila mtu anataka kutuma Ruto home. But tutapata wengine kumbe hii ni ngoma pekee. I was being bashed on Twitter by some guys there because they said Kasmuel and Morara are working for Ruto and they were asking for evidence. Some of these things watu ambao ni wajanja wanaona. You can not keep telling us this spoon is dirty, but you're not cleaning it. Then uko hapo hivyo ati mmeungana na Caswell, mnasema ni vyama vinaungana, mpige watu, mnapiga mpaka hao wenye hivyo vyama, na hao wenye hivyo vyama bado wanawalipa. It's a game of Kenyans trying to fool others instead of Kenyans trying to enlighten others. Sisi vijana bado ndo tunakosea. As wengine wako huko wana struggle to find all ways and means za kupeana civic education in language that our people will understand. Kuna wengine wako pale hivyo kueneza chuki. Ni wapi tutakutania katikati? Mtu kama huyo Morara alianza na hizo vitu zinaitwa Vampire Diaries. Zilisha change after Pocket kuingia, huwa anatumwa, hebu ndio tuangalie huu mradi ulifaa kuwa wa Mithika Linturi, tuambie kulienda aje. Huu mradi ulikuwa wa Uhuru, tuambie kulienda aje. Yet alianza na kutuambia hapa panafanyika hivi, patatengenezeka. Saizi anatupeleka ama anapeleka watu kwa witch hunting ama ghost hunting ya kutafuta bado projects in the name of akuja tuambie we are too young to lead. It's known we are too young, we are not too young to lead. It's known we are not too young to lead. Resources ndo zinakuwa ni shida, but tuko na brains, tuko na time, tuko na strategy, na kwa hivi vita vya you cannot teach an old cat new tricks, bado tutashinda. It's no longer 1990s or 1992. Angalia vitu Samia Suluhu anafanya, but bado by the power of Kenyan youths we were able at least to save lives kama Zaboni na Agatha Atuhaire. It was because of hiyo kelele. Bado tuko na nguvu and we will make better things. 2027 it will be a cleaning year, sweeping, and others are calling it draining the swamp.
All right. Ojwang has made accusations on your party, Nick. I don't know.
No, si mimi ni kusema nimesema vile watu wa DCP wanasema. I've not made an accusation to his party.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, from where you sit, what do you make of the post-Madaraka political temperatures in the country?
You know, before I start, Ojwang is too afraid to tell you he's the organizing secretary in Nairobi region, and in Kenya Hadi Party. So the question is supposed to ask me. We are supposed to ask each other because
nataka utaandikwe vita moja ya SG ajibu hiyo.
Because we sit at the same level.
Ajibu hiyo, huyu Rigathi anasema hawa wengine wote ni wa watu wa Ruto. Sasa akiwa hapa watatuambia.
He is the head.
He is the head. Okay. He is the SG.
Yes.
Anatuambia are we following Ruto? Because I'm not doing that.
Yes. So the politics of Luo Nyanza has always been about kingship and statesmanship. And Raila is not just an ordinary human being in Luo Nyanza. Raila is the king of Luo Nyanza. And you know how he is treated, how he is loved, how he is perceived. It is a kingship way of doing things. And you know, in the old, those who love history will tell you, in the old days, when the king will go out on the street, mingle and interact with the people will come out and sing praises about the king. So, fast forward to 62 years later, in a county called Homa Bay, by around 4 a.m., the stadium was full to the brim. The people had come to see their king. Who is their king? Raila Amolo Odinga. Remember, this is a perceived king who was sent allegedly by the same president back to Bondo. But the king is seemingly to have more than 9 lives because he survived a 2022 election. He's still the king. He survived AUC chairmanship. He's still the king. Again, he has survived his way into, we don't know that animal called broad-based government. But there, the people are seeing what the king is doing. So Raila has continuously showing his people that as the king, I know whatever I'm doing. So the people of Luo Nyanza are left not to question the king, but to follow what the king is doing. And surprisingly, that's why you are seeing a shift, a dynamic shift, slowly. The people of Luo Nyanza are slowly embracing the Kenya Kwanza government in the name of broad-based government. And you know, this is not this is not anything new that we see in the game. In 2018, we saw a handshake. But this animal called handshake did not have any tangible fruits. For the first time, the people of Nyanza are now celebrating a state launch in Homa Bay. So it leaves the question, and it begs the question, are we back to our politics, our tribal politics again? I will not want to say, as the people of DCP are saying, kusikiza ground, but what people are saying on the ground is politics is slowly going back to its let me say, normal form. What's the normal form in quotes? It's tribal form. The Gen Zs are now, let me say, emulating the tribal form of I'm a Gen Z from Mount Kenya. The party that I'm supposed to be in is not Kenya Hadi Party, is not Jubilee, is not TCP, rather it is DCP. I'm a Gen Z from Luo Nyanza or from Western Province. The party that I'm supposed to join in is not DCP, is not Kenya Hadi Party, is rather ODM. So again, in all these dynamics, we the young people are still losing it. Because we are being pushed backward, forward, sideways, without any stand. I have not seen, apart from Kenya Hadi Party, young people saying that this is our party, and this is, since we are a majority in votes, a majority in population, that we are forming, we are chanting our own way.
Would you say that the Gen Z is lacking proper direction or proper purpose, spelled out purpose of what they want, or a specific party that describes what they really want is the reason why they're being moved east, right, left, center?
Sylvia, I will tell you, the illusion of power, when it gets to people's mind, it gets a little bit confusing. Because I know a majority of young people, when they smell or around powerful people, they start to imagine they're already powerful. But we are missing the conversation. Nobody is still talking about the failing university funding model. Nobody is still talking about unemployment rate in our country. Nobody is still talking about that the cost of living is still unstable. Everything has been reduced to how can we grab power and how do we forget about what really matters about the young people. We have been made to forget about our own issues and focus on which political giant should we follow. Not even party. People are not following party, I tell you. They are following Raila Odinga, they are following Rigathi Gachagua, they are following William Ruto. Parties are built on ideologies. Like Kenya Hadi Party has an ideology. That our ideology is we want to fight for your right because it is haki yako ni ahadi yetu. That's what we believe in. That's our ideology. And we'll fight for it till the last man on the ground. So our conversation, be as it may, as of 2025 in Homa Bay County, there's a twist in where the young people are losing it. And you will see a huge dynamics whereby it's again the young people are fighting each other. As Ojwang is saying, they will be pro one term, they will be pro two term.
So what do you think is destabilizing the young generation?
We are losing our priorities right. And I don't want to say what I have seen or what I've heard from old politicians like Linjiru, who strongly agrees that politics has nothing to do with development. It has to do a lot with the PR game, the mindset. How do we manage to convince the people that we are still as powerful as of 2022? You get? And And you see, what has just happened is they removed in the broad-based government, they removed, because Ricky G was part of it until he got impeached. He was part of the broad-based government and he endorsed it. He's on record. But until when it stopped serving his purpose, the interest of him as a politician was no longer in the broad-based government. And we cannot say that the young people do not have a factor into it, because we are the people who champion the most these ideologies or these one-term or two-term whatever. What we need to ask ourselves in this conversation, how eligible are we, Sylvia, to vie for an MCA, to vie for an MP, to vie for a women position or Senate? If we want a better country, let us walk direct to the table. Which party should safeguard your party, your ticket to 2027? Because we are fighting for Raila Odinga, we are fighting for William Ruto, yet it is simple. We had a conversation that we want to recall our MPs. What happened to that? We had a simple conversation that we want to call out some of the women reps, some of the senators, some of the governors. Now the conversation has been reduced to one term. Yet we know that we can go into parliament as young people, if not all, right? And make policies that regulate such harsh conditions as we have seen in this government.
So according to its lack of consistency and eligibility.
I hear you.
Right. Ojong, from where you sit, what do you think is destabilizing the voices of the young people in this country?
Kenyans or Kenyan youth are resilient people. Watakuwa shaken, but watasimama.
But from where we sit right now, hawajasimama.
Ngoja nikuelezee. Wamesimama bado.
Okay.
Mahali wamesimama, ndio tunafaa kuongelelea ni wapi. Wameshika. We are learning so much from history. And the history goes back to 1992. We were kwa place yenye ya president alikuwa ametokesha watu kabisa. The late President Moi. And the President Moi naye alikuwa anajiamini zaidi. In fact, back then kulikuwa na chama kimoja pekee ndio kusema KANU. He went to the National Assembly and said that he has repealed the Section 2A to ensure that we have a multi-party democracy. Na mtu mwenye anajiamini yeye ni mwanaume kutosha, homondo wapatane kwa debe. And he won through kukupitia katikati. So the youths are keen on that. Remember what I said when I say, or you remember when I said that you cannot teach an old cat new tricks? We are the new cats. We've learned the old tricks. The old cats cannot learn the new tricks, or it will take them a longer time to do that, because we've been born and bred in these tricks, but they've learned the tricks. So we are more conditioned to the easy tricks. If hawa wazee agenda yao ni kutuma Ruto nyumbani vile wanasema, sisi agenda yetu ni the same. 2024 tulifika, haki ya Mungu kanchit kindai. Kama sio Raila Odinga and other people, Kenya would have a different president today. But around 6 p.m. walitumia hiyo chance kulipa watu, kuambia watu tuendeni home. And all of a sudden kila Mkenya akaingiza uoga, yet the whole day watu walishinda huko wakiuliwa bungeni nini. Tungeendelea tu, ingekuwa fiti. Wewe ukiangalia vizuri, hata uangalie kwa documentaries kama ile ya BBC ya Blood Parliament. In the parliament ground or in the parliament ground, KDF, our army, tayari walikuwa pale, and it's evident waliua mtu.
So what is destabilizing their focus?
They've not been destabilized. They are being they are reforming. They are forming other groups. The shape ya nchi yetu ile ya tribe hii ndio wako. So watu wanaenda wanasurround nyuma ya babu yao Rigathi Gachagua. Wengine wanaenda wanasurround nyuma ya babu yao Raila Odinga. Anasema ni sawa, tutakusikiza, tuongoze, bora tu usitupeleke kwa Ruto. Unaona? But they know where they are going. These parties are a driving force. Party ni gari ya kukusukumia agenda. Sawa. So mtu akikaa chini asikie agenda yangu na hii ya Rigiji inafanana, anasema wacha nijifiche pale nipate ticket. Wale wenye ni bold, watu kama Ashton, watu kama Nick, hao ndio wanasema sisi tuko bold enough tujiungie chama chetu. Morara did the same.
But you know,
wenye hawataweza kuunda chama haimaanishi wako destabilized. Ni kuhama tu wanahama. But as wanahama na wana grapple na maswala ya njaa, ndo wakifika pale hivyo hawafai kusahau the main goal ni gani. So that even when you are given 500 or 1,000, you've not forgotten why you are where you are. Otherwise, hatuwezi ambia hawa vijana wacheni kuenda hivyo vyama kujeni hapa hivi. Are we trying to be dictators? No, we are trying to be diplomats who are using their brains and not their hearts.
My question comes from this direction. When the Gen Z movement, so we call it, was rising, it was a partyless, leaderless, tribeless, and all less things, as they mentioned. And this means that they were all fighting for a common goal of, first it began Reject Finance Bill, then it began Ruto must go. It came to Kufa Dereva, Kufa Makanga, you know, all that building up. And it was a situation where the young people were fighting for a government that, actually not a government, they're fighting leaders in government who are not prioritizing the development of the country. And this one they mentioned all leaders, Raila Odinga, who is this guy? Rigiji. They are mentioning him, Kalonzo and all that. And now, the reason why I'm asking if the focus is shifting, it's because you're saying that you need to find a party that aligns with you. And the main purpose why the Gen Z really was great is because they were partyless and tribeless. And now let's come to a party that, you know, why not come up with I want
to agree with you completely. I think that's where me and Ojwang part ways. These are young people who raised almost 30 million online. So it clearly tells you that if young people allegedly want to form as many as political parties as they want and not to conform, you know what Ojwang is saying is let us conform to what has been the norm. You get? And
amjaniala wadi nimalize hiyo point na mshajaji mshasema mwenye
and you know it's very dangerous because if I walk in Ojwang's house today, what is supposed to happen? I cannot go direct to his bedroom. He has to allow me to sit in the sitting room. After that, anyonyeshe choo. Anyonyeshe mali nitaoka. Sindio? It is the same thing. If I walk into Raila's Odinga's party, I'm not walking in there with new ideas that he has not had. He will try, walk along, he will drag me, pole pole, anyonyeshe corridor, anyeke chai, nitulie, anyeke mandazi, nishibe. Nisahau kitu imenileta hapo. That is what is happening to our young people. Because how we easily forget is we become too comfortable about what we are actually fighting for. The same thing. And I was just enlightening Ojwang behind the scene is when the revolution happened, 25th of June, actually it is this month, right? We are just 22 days away to celebrate 1 year. Ruto called all these folks and told them, look guys, you in your right mind, do you think these people will allow any of you to sit in this seat that I'm sitting? And they all agreed, no. So they have all ganged up against which generation? Gen Z. So what in your right mind do you think, what are the possibilities that you think that we will just be called to sit on that table? And as a matter of fact, let me enlighten you. The only role that will be given to you in any political party is a youth leader. And they will devolve that position to so many youth leaders so that it becomes a ceremonial factor. If Rigiji was very serious, he will have said, look, I have heard the cry of the young people. I'm sponsoring, because he has the element of resources, a young leader to become the party leader of DCP. If he was really intentional about young people, the same Raila will do the same for his party. Kasamuel will have been a Raila Odinga, right? Right now, we are losing direction. We're now saying Matiang'i has it. Why not say Ojwang has it? We are saying it is not too, you are not too young to lead, yet we don't have any confidence of ourselves to become the president of this country. We are seeing it is happening in other countries. That is where we are losing sight of our conversation. That is where we are losing sight of where we want to be. I will support as many as young leaders leading political parties. Because it means it's now a shift of generation.
Yeah, sure.
In my view.
Okay, Ojwang, I said we cut you short. What are you saying?
So this is what I was saying. That we are students. We are learning from history. And President Ruto is bragging of he was there participating actively when some of us were young or not born. 1992. Narudi hapo hivyo. Because Ruto is the cart that everyone is trying to bail. Vijana wa Kenya wana struggle sana na mambo ya mental health. Najua juu niko hapo hivyo kwa ground. Kwa nini wanapata hizi stress? Kitu cha kwanza, chakula tu. Kitu cha pili, mavazi tu. Kitu cha tatu, mahali pa kulala. Umeshika? It does not mean that they are not aware their rights are being violated. Because tungekuwa tunaishi kwa nchi yenye ni fair, at least wewe unajua kujituma kwako inafai kuwa inakuletea hii. So these Kenyans are asking themselves, how can we positively collaborate with ourselves from all these nations so that we can have a say? He talked about Linjiro, and Linjiro teaches people about how we as a country came together. Nyinyi, watu wa Lake Region, nyinyi ni inchi tofauti. Mko na mitazamo yenyu, mko na cultures zenyu, na mko na interests zenyu. When interests zenyu zimekuwa met, mtasupport hiyo government agenda. When interests zenyu hazijakuwa met, mtafeel betrayed by that government agenda. Vijana ndo wako involved. Sawa? We collaborate. Tukae hapa. Wenye wako na nguvu wanaunda vyama. Tunaenda. Wenye hawana nguvu, you know hawa wazee ni wazazi wetu. Wenye hawana nguvu, then tunaingia hizo vyama na si chama kinasemekanaga ni chetu. Wanasemaga huyu chama ni chetu, chama ni chetu. Tunaingia hapo hivyo na tuna bulldoze. If the issue is watu watapewa sijui viti za youth rep, tuna ask for better. Na ikishindikana bado tunatoka tunaunda. But by 2027 all of us should be speaking the same language. We cannot speak the same language when kila siku tukiamka tunapigana. Kila siku tukiamka tunapigana. Mtu akikuwa bold enough aunde chama, anaongelewa vibaya. Mwingine akikuwa muoga akose chama, ajifiche hapo ODM. Hata alianza akitaka kuwa kitu rais huko. Saizi anaulizwa what party what position are you going for? The party will advise. Tumefika hapo hivyo. They are still youths. We have to allow them to be. Jensi kama kuna kitu wanapenda niruhusu mimi nikuwe chenye nataka. Usiniforce yako. Juu ukiniforce yako nianze kukunini, huyu na yeye ataanza kunipiga huyu wako huko. That's why unapata sisi vijana watu wataki kutusaidia. Juu mtu mwenye anataka kukusaidia anataka bado akucommand kuwe amekununua. Let's talk about politicians au wenye wako na miaka mingi na pesa. Anataka akikutumia wewe umuimbe kesho. Lakini wewe kijana bado uko hapo hivyo unataka that same leadership. So how do we ensure that we collaborate and have the right representatives in our houses? How do we collaborate so that we can ensure that then that one term, half term inakaa hivi ita nini? If we get to talk about those issues and address them, then we will stop discussing about vile DCP, vile Wiper, vile zile zingine za Matiang'i zinafanya, and start discussing how can we ensure saa hizi Rose Njeri yako nje. Juu ameshikwa na mambo yenye yanahusu Finance Bill 2025 na tuko June. The country is pregnant. Lazima tuzae.
Now that you brought about the issue of June, on the issue of youth involvement in politics, clearly you have not given me a solid answer of why youth should be part of this big political party.
Oh, they are going there because they don't have money. Kila youth mwenye ameingia kwa chama, unaingiaga chama ukihope chama kitakupea ticket. That's the whole reason wako pale hivyo. Wakishapata do, unatoka unaunda chama chako. They are wako pale hivyo juu wana feel sina nini, acha nikaya hapa mahali wazazi wetu wako.
How long can this go on? Because that's like selling your voting right, or...
No, don't sell your voting right. It's just a party. Can you have your agenda in that party? And if your agenda is not fitting that party, unatoka, unaunda yako ama unaingia ingine.
Alright.
Msiwapige juu wanaingia vyama, wacheni waingie. We need them. Tukianza kuwapiga then 2027 Ruto anashika mmoja kama Fikirini, anambadilishia gospel inaanza kuchange Kilifi yote. Aje sasa.
Let's just hope.
Shilingi 500 zinaingia Luo Nyanza, inaanza kuchange. The conversation is even positive. Kitambo tulikuwa tunasema baba ni king of Nyanza. Sasa tunasema baba ni king of Luo Nyanza. Kesho tutasema baba ni king of Luo, not Nyanza. Siku nyingine tuseme baba ni king of baba. Ako iti what? By the time tunamaliza hivi tu tamasha gonga 100.
Joan, as you get into those parties, let's hope you don't change your focus as you get in those parties.
Oh, umeshaambiwa mahali niko saizi mimi
your SG is
my SG is here na niko na my SG here organizing secretary Nairobi County Kenya Ahadi Party. So if I'm here talking about Kenya Ahadi Party is still a new party, and we want to do all these people to come to our party, but we don't want these people to come to our party because we are bulldozing them or dictating to them. If you are dictating to them, then it's not about the agenda. If it's about the agenda, let us allow those people who feel like their agenda iko kwa chama yetu wakuje hapo hivyo. Kama hawezi waingie hapo pengine. Isikuwe yenyewe kama sikusupport na kupiga. Kwa nini kupige juu sikusupport?
Let me get his final words on that. Do you think it's right for the young people to be joining giant parties?
No, probably what you need to get clear is as the SG, I am representing the ideology of the members, and Ojuan being one of them. And whatever is happening on this panel is a very common element. And leaders always don't have to agree, even in the same party. Because that now shows the element of democracy.
That's the true democracy.
What personally I'm saying, in my own opinion, what I've heard over time, desperation leads to conformity. If I'm desperate that I'm in dire need of lunch, I will conform to fit in your ideology. And it will be very hard to convince an entire generation that is watching us. You know, we have Gen Z Alpha that are watching us, the Gen Zs and the millennials, to convince that we are not reconvinced by the Gen X, and we are not. And if you've studied history very well, you'll also understand the elements of the cycle of adaptation, mutation, and isolation. And where we are as young people, we may almost likely adapt those behavior of these old folks. And sometimes when dealing with a cancerous manigma element, you have to cut it. So we have to choose whether you are going to make a tough decision, whether we are going to conform, so that in the next generation we try and make a change, or we are going to start a change from this point. However, we both agree that there is a need of a change on the table.
That's right.
That is what at the end of the day, we both agree that we have to speak in one voice. regardless of our thoughts and our experience in leadership. We have to agree that what we have to agree as young people is, at the end of the day, our common issue the same. And when it comes to issues of separation and inclusion, should we choose to be separated or to be included? And I will tell you this. Kenya is not as just a small country. Kenya is the hegemon of Africa. And that's why you are seeing when we go to Uganda, we make noise. When we have been Tanzania, we have made a lot of noise. We have been to South Africa, we are still making a lot of noise because it is Kenya. And a lot of countries are viewing us as a place where democracy can be borrowed, where you can speak against the bad government that is led by probably, in my opinion, a bad leader, without facing treasonous charges like in Tanzania or Uganda. So one thing I have to salute our young people is that we are trying to build a solid democracy. And let us not get lost in the process of trying to find a better democracy.
All right. Yeah. Now let's move to slightly different thing, and it's the call for multipartyism in the East African region. It's a story given prominence on both the Daily Nation and the Standard. The Standard says voices crushed and bodies broken. Activists allege torture in Tanzania. The Daily Nation says tears as activists recount torture in Tanzanian detention. And now this is the two leaders, that is not the leaders, that is Boniface Mwangi and Agatha from Uganda. They were both in Tanzania or heading to Tanzania for Tindu's case hearing. Yeah, so there is a widespread call for multipartyism in the Eastern Africa. And the leaders of the country say that we cannot allow external factors to dismantle our peace. But from what I see, do you think that if someone is not agreeing with what you're bringing in as a foreign nation, must they invoke torture, or you could just send someone home? What do you think about this?
It puts the question of, I think the unity of East Africa has been put to a question. Is there really a unity among us? Because largely it boils down to the now international politics. Because when I look at this activist agenda, I want to find out that a majority of them, I support whatever they're doing, but a majority of them has a background push. And I fail to understand where the professional who have done international relations, they should be coming in at this stage to try and mend the broken spirit of East Africa community, because people are now losing faith in Samia Suluhu. People lost faith a long time in Museveni, right? They're losing faith in, they're starting to lose faith in Rwanda. In Kenya, it is a known fact that Kenyans will not keep quiet if something is going wrong. We now have newborns in the family, DRC and Somalia. It's a complex issue that I think if one zooms in very carefully, it's as if this thing is manufactured in a way that we are not united. Because I see the issue of Chadema and CCM as the same as what is happening here in Kenya. And one thing I want to encourage probably the young people or the people in Tanzania, because it seems as if this issue is more of our issue in Kenya than in Tanzanians. Because I don't see the young people as they push, if they are pushing for democracy, as we are pushing for democracy here in Kenya. Because the question that we need to ask ourselves, yes, a lot of atrocities happen to Boniface Mwangi and Agatha, and which is very bad. But we will also encourage them. I can only fight your battles until you're ready to fight them for yourselves. It puts the question whereby, if we are fighting for democracy in Tanzania, where are Tanzanians themselves? Where are the frontiers of Tundu Lissu? Chadema is a big party. It's a second majority party in Tanzania. And I see elements of the same happening in Uganda. But in Uganda, at least I see Besigye has put up a strong fight, despite all these long years. So it is a complex issue on the issues of sovereignty and democracy that begs the question, Sylvia, this morning is, are we influenced by the international communities, or is it really a fight against democracy? Yes.
All right. Ojwang, what do you make of this situation?
Bado tuko on the winning. As a country, sisi kama Kenya, we will champion for that democracy in Tanzania. We have been doing it in Uganda. Na mahali tumefika, tumebakisha kidogo. Kitambo Uganda ilikuwa, if you do something, then it is Yoweri Museveni who is coming to defend himself or fight for himself. But he's growing old. People in Uganda who are born without hope, ushaizaliwa na una hope, have grown, are the likes of Atuhaire, the likes of Bobby Wine have been doing it. Wengine kama Kiza Besigye hawajawahi choka. All we have to do ni kuonyesha solidarity.
Okay.
The Bible says my people perish due to lack of knowledge. Hawana hiyo knowledge. Kama hapa Kenya tunalia, hatuna civic education pale chini. Kenya haelewi gava inafaa cooperate aje, what is power. Mtanzania ako vile vile. If leader katika chama ambacho kiko second largest in the country anapitia vitu kama hizo, international community ndio inakuja na watu wa kwenyu hawafanyi kitu, inamaanisha watu wa kwenyu hawajui cha kufanya.
Okay.
The Ugandans, now that wanajua cha kufanya, wana rise vizuri sana. I listened to Madam Atuhaire sadly.
Okay.
And I was so encouraged by her positivity amid hizo vitu zote zimemfanyikia. Tocha unapitia tocha hadi unasema ni heri basi wanajisi tu. But after kutoka hapo hakunyamaza. Don't buy into what gazeti imesema hapo hivyo that we have crushed voices. These voices are not crushed voices. That press conference by Ebony and Atuhaire did more work than what they went to do. Ngojea tu matunda ya vitu zijieke vizuri. Wakikuyu usema nige kuiga. The moment that thing happens, we will shake things.
Okay,
yeah.
All right. Our time is really running out. So at this point, I'll give less than a minute for closing remarks. Let me begin with you, John.
Hapo kwa closing remark ningependa kusema asante sana to our people of Roysambu. Every day wana to trust that sisi vijana tunaweza fanya kitu, ka chance kadogo tukipata na sisi hatukojelei. We know we are headed in the right direction. The country as a whole inalia, angalia how grade 9 choices will shape careers, ni vitu zinaweza mess watoto wetu. Nilikuwa naangalia the cost ya kutoka CBC kuenda CBE, changing that letter from C to E, na vile ita affect taxpayer mwenye anasema hakuna do zenye hadi gava yenyewe ina budget inakosa za KCPE na KCSE, but kuna budget za kutoa ile C kwa pale mwisho jua ikai smart waeke E. nasema asante nikiona bado kuna community bado zina trust vijana hao wanaweza fanya kitu. It's our community. Our community kutoka kukosa ku trust vijana ndio inafanya mpaka vijana wanaingia mahali yao wazee wako waone how are we now then trusting each other. Tuko na mistrust kati ya wazee na vijana. Na lazima tuongee in one way ndio tuweze kungoa President Ruto. If we don't do that, atapita katikati yetu. Na if Kalonzo Musyoka was so sure anaweza pita katikati ya watu in 2007 na akajaribu kiasi kuwa number 3, then Ruto anaweza pita katikati yetu. Lazima tutafute ways za kuungana na kucollaborate ndio tuweze kujenga nchi fiti. Nashukuru sana.
You're very much welcome. Now, Nick, as the SG of Ahadi Party, as you give us your closing remarks, also tell us what Ahadi Party has for the young people of this country.
First and foremost is to thank all the production management of KUTV, right from our able director Ryan, to you, of course, Sylvia, and also to my party member Ojwang Mariam. We are truly grateful as a party to continue to speak on behalf of the young many people we have in this country, because it is these opportunities that we are given to air out our grievances and also our winnings as a community. Secondly is to thank the people of Roysambu. Continuously they keep believing for a better dream and a better place in our constituency. And then finally, of course, is to thank all the party members in Kenya Ahadi Party and urge them that not to give up. Because you've asked a very key question. What is Kenya Ahadi Party doing? And this is the same thing I keep telling young people. If you have a dream of leading, whether it's your ward, constituency, as a woman rep, as a senator, as a governor, or even president, Kenya Ahadi Party is a place to go. We have already made the channel for you. Now channel your leadership to whatever place you want it to grow. Thank you so much.
You're very much welcome. Asante sana, gentlemen, for making time for us this morning. It's so good to have you. And back at home, our gentle viewer, we couldn't do this without you back at home. And I'm looking at our YouTube. There are so many comments coming through. I'll just read a few because there's so many. Someone is saying, this is really funny. It's so paradoxical to see Gachagua and Ruto in the same place. The show is fire. That is Brian Peter who says that. We also have Loni Ochola, that is serious work, and several comments here. People who are really happy for what we are doing and for you for making time for us this morning. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, back at home and here in studio, and for everyone who has been part of this discussion and making this broadcast a success. Until next time, it's a bye from us.
Can be a time bomb that can blow this country to pieces. This is a quick sound.
Wanadhani asibongolala, ikikupita we bongolala, na walosema jana iwezi fika leo, tuko ground tumezoza. Ajiji kukumewaka sana, na mapisto na chafua rada, na walosema